Okay, so today's first question comes from Leslie Evan Smith. So curious on your thoughts about my revised niche. As a mindful productivity coach, I help overwhelmed introverts transform their time anxieties into time mastery so they can do and get more of what matters, get done more of what matters in their lives. Okay. Um, so the very first thing I'd say, let's see. It it loses me a bit, and here are the places where I get tripped up. So again, as a mindful productivity coach, so it's starting talking about you and the boat, and I don't think I care right away. In business as a service provider, there's three filters that we've got to go through: relevance, credibility, and value. It's always those three in that order. Meaning, unless they know that what you're doing is relevant for them, they just don't care. But um, And so the challenge is people go to talk about the boat too soon. It's not that we shouldn't talk about the boat, that's critical to talk about. But if they're on island A and they want to get to island B, that's the very first thing they want to know. If you're walking down the harbor and the conversation begins with, "Would you look at my boat? God, what a beautiful boat. This took me years to make." And you go on and on about your boat. You see what I'm saying? The person just feel trapped. How do I get out of this conversation of this person just going on and on about their boat? I don't care. But if that person says, hey, are you going to this island? I'm just about to leave. Oh my God, I am going to that. See what I'm saying? It's now relevant. Now they may be curious to know about your boat. And so when we lead with, and this is a very micro example. It's not, a big problem. But on a website, when the website, the very first thing is all about you and who you are instead of who they are and what's their journey. If the headline in the website is like, I am a mindful productivity coach versus, hey, are you this kind of person struggling with this kind of problem? Or you're this kind of person craving this kind of result? If you go with the boat and who you are and talk about yourself, it's just not relevant to people. Why would they care? So I just wouldn't have that probably be in the beginning. Um, and it also runs the risk of what the hell is a mindful productivity coach? And people don't know. Okay, but then we get into the island A. So I help overwhelmed introverts transform their time anxieties. Um, Overwhelmed introverts, just from reading it, I feel like, I why does it matter that they're introverts? I get the overwhelm. Yeah, overwhelm is not fun to feel. But why would introverts like why does that word come in here? Why does it matter? How does it change the overwhelm, the nature of the overwhelm, the fact that they're introverted? I mean, extroverted people get overwhelmed all the time too. So I don't immediately see the difference. And then time anxieties. Well, everybody has time anxieties, but I don't know what even that means. It's a kind of a diagnostic term. And this is something to be mindful of when we're talking about island A. Um, it's easy to talk about our diagnosis versus their symptom. Yeah. So, and unless they identify with that symptom or with that diagnosis, rather, it's lost on them. So, so there's just a number of stumbling blocks here, and then into time mastery. Is that what they're craving, right? So island B, that's what they're craving. That's the result that they want. But is that the way they'd word it? Has anyone come to you saying, I really want time mastery? Or is that what you want for them or what you think they need? So again, I want to draw a distinction with island B between what do they want and what do we want for them? What do they want and what do we think they need? Those are two different things. And if we speak to what we want for them, what we think they need, then there's no purchase on it. There's no traction. So they can do and get more of what matters. Oh, again, this sentence is tripping me up. So they can do and get done more of what matters most in their lives. I probably wouldn't double that up, do and get done. Just this is 3 times I've tripped on it. So I might just say so they can do more of what matters in their lives. And okay, so then, if I simplified it, I help overwhelmed people get done more of what matters in their lives. So yeah, again, the places I'm tripped, the introvert thing, time anxieties, time mastery. I get the island B is they want to get more done. They want to be more productive. And then we're sort of left with, it feels a bit generic at that level. So that's what I've got. Any reflections, Wes?
Yeah, well, I don't typically lead with the as a mindful productivity coach. I just put that in there for context of getting your feedback on that.
Yeah.
The island and let's say for overwhelmed introverts, the reason I'm approaching it from introverts is because I'm an introvert and what I coach on and teach tends to reflect my introversions and the strengths that I get from that. So as a client and student, I'm kind of targeting introverts as well because they're going to be a little more interested in going down the rabbit holes that I offer up in the way that I do, potentially more so than extroverts would. And I'm trying to kind of narrow the target market in kind of my psychographic marketing efforts. So,
Okay.
and in the interest of trying not to sell to everybody, or to market to everybody, I'm narrowing it down to overwhelmed introverts. What creates overwhelm? Typically, it's things like, procrastination, perfectionism, existential anxieties, things that are time based. And so, to keep it narrowed, that's what I'm referring to as time anxieties, things that are time based. I'm not able to get stuff done. I'm too old. I can't do this now. I missed my opportunity. Those kind of anxieties. I call them time anxieties. And then that transformation to time mastery, that I'm leveraging that as like intrigue. Okay, like would somebody lean into that and go, interesting. I know I struggle with time anxieties. If they can kind of get that, it baits the hook. And do they lean in on going, wow, so you can actually say you transform that into time mastery. I'm interested. They read more. And then the purpose of it to do and get done more of what matters most in their lives. I get what you mean, how it kind of trips up a little bit. Um, and I may refine that. I've just been using that so much it's very familiar to me, but I can tell in how you stumble across in that delivery that it might require some narrowing. But anyways, that's the angle that I'm coming at from that as being a niche. But great advice as always, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. So again, I would just really dig into like how does it shape the overwhelm? Because everything you listed afterwards around perfectionism and procrastination, extroverts struggle with that too.
Right.
So it's like
Yeah, I'm
what,
just narrowing the field to, what where I come from.
yeah, I and in that case, I might not have this at the very potentially at the very beginning. I might go into, hey, we could be a perfect fit if you're an introvert, you know. And I think it's worth really sitting with. Does overwhelm appear differently for introverts? Is there a different flavor? Do they get overwhelmed for different reasons? For example, than extroverts? What is it that overwhelms them uniquely? What are the particular situations? Here's the homework I want to give to you, and for everybody, actually, this is a useful bit of homework, is to draw Island A as a picture. Just literally doodle it out. And the key is this little picture you draw has to include where and when. It can't just be a stick person floating in space. They're not in a metaphorical situation. They're somewhere in their real life. But there might be a stack of papers. There might be a clock on the wall ticking. There might be, yeah, there's a thought bubble, what they're saying to themselves. Maybe there's people in their lives saying things about them, whispering to each other. But what's the picture that you can draw? Because right now, I just don't get a picture of who this person is and why they're struggling. What's the particular situation? Um, So I might try drawing that and then see if you can word that situation specifically. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Ted. That's great.
Thanks for coming by.